welcome to their first impressions video brought to you by MMO Play. They're taking a look at a free-to-play game called Wizardry Online. It is kind of almost an old-school RPG, at least the feel you get from it. It is a hardcore MMO, meaning your character has permanent injury and the possibility of permanent death. Also, your character... The decisions you make aren't always purely based on power. Like, you'll see when you're creating a character, allotting bonus attributes, it's a random luck roll. It can be anywhere from, I think it's low, like 2 to 9, maybe 1 to 10. But in the grand scheme of things, that's actually not a big deal. It's just one way of just showing the fact that in RPGs a lot of times you have random. I'm going to make a mage, an elven mage. Go with female character this time. You can see the 2 skills you have. You also have mana, and I'm put all my points into int. You can theoretically just keep rerolling your character until you get 9. I don't know if 10 is possible for your bonus stat, but in the grand scheme of things, again, that's a very small portion. It's more just to give character to the idea of randomization in RPGs. If you ever played Dungeons and Dragons or Pathfinder or other RPG tabletop games, you'll know that random rolling is a big part of it. So you get into the game, we'll see the graphic style. It does give me a vibe of a Legend of Zelda style game. I'm in Ilfolo port. This is a starter zone. You can see it is story driven too. A starter zone that just kind of teaches you the game. You can see all the different keys. And this is what I said about the feel of Legend of Zelda. It's the music style and kind of the graphics. It's got a bit of a wash graphic style, which kind of the colors remind me a little of Path of Exile, only it's 3D instead of isometric view, kind of like an action RPG. These first few missions, we're just going to gloss through them quickly. It's basically you have one character, one NPC, kind of directing you through all these little starting missions, teaching you the ins and outs of the game. Oops. You also can see your emotes are F1 through 10, which we'll change out in a second. But you learn the mechanics of the game through these missions, which can actually make it feel a little bit slow to start. I almost kind of wish that there was just a little pop-up window teaching you, hey, this is all the mechanics of the game if it's your first RPG. If this is not your first MMO or your first RPG, it's fairly intuitive, you've probably seen it. So let's skip through this tutorial and actually get into something a little bit else. Alright, here we go. We finished all of the tutorial. Some of the things you learn while you're playing is, 1, you do not regenerate health. You can get up to half health by resting in an inn for free. You can just sleep on the floor, you'll get half your hit points and mana back. You could go the rest of the way if you pay to sleep in a room. It costs, I believe, 60 gold. Or this is a free-to-play game, there's a microtransaction which will let you just have somewhere to rest for the night for free too. Another thing is you have to rest at an inn to level up. You'll get experience, but you'll have to kind of think about what you've done, I guess. And almost kind of, that's what I said, it's one of those things that reminds me of an older school D&D style game. And here we go, we gotta open the doors. You can't just come to a door and click on it, you actually do have to manually open it. It doesn't really add too much, but it does give the feel of the game. And there are cutscenes, which makes a lot of... There does seem to be voice acting, though, so... But... this one kind of amuses me. Donk! So a big old bull just fell on my head when walking in. The monk said, "Hey, wait!" Donk! Unfortunately, the bull may have just killed me. Thankfully, this is part of the tutorial. This isn't actually, oh, you died, you triggered a trap. There are traps in the game and they can hurt. But when you die, you come look for these little stones right here. You can actually just, I think, teleport to one. And you resurrect. You have a chance to resurrect. It's based on... I'm not quite sure what, but the first time it's 100%. You can throw in extra gold and other things to kind of increase your chance. If you fail to resurrect, your character is dead permanently, so that's the hardcore aspect. So be very careful when you're exploring. Also, your hit points, again, they do not regenerate. So if you take damage, it's permanent unless you heal. And I did not see a healer class in the game to actually mend your wounds either. Now for the combat system. First thing you can do, you can lock on to a mob by hitting tab, and you do have to unsheath your weapons. I could not find a hotkey to do it. By default, it's the 0 key that on my quick bar you can see will unsheath. You can't even cast a spell until you've unsheathed your weapons, so something else to keep in mind. Spacebar is a jump back. I should learn that towards the end of the demo. Alright. Right now I'm just looking for how to do this, so I'm going to skip forward. And here we go. I unsheath my weapon, which I'm actually not going to use because I'm a mage. So, Fireball, you can see, has a bit of a cooldown and a cast bar on it. Looks like... Oh, and then my Acid Cloud gives them basically a dot. And I'll just get my weapon out, because it doesn't seem to hurt me to have it out or anything. Mana does not regenerate, so if you run out of mana, well, you're out of luck. Potions are one other way to regenerate. You can drink potions, which will give you hit points that will go above half. You can see this fountain of healing would have also healed me up to half if I had trouble with that zombie. There is a bit of... I don't know if I call it platforming, but you do have to actually pay attention a little bit to going around. They're just introducing this concept. It's actually not that hard in this dungeon. Although I did have trouble jumping across this, watch. Oh, that's because space jumps backwards. There's a different key for just jumping forward. Space jumps backwards. It's useful in combat when you're trying to avoid getting hit in melee. So let's just skip forward. Alright, and here I am walking forward. I talked to this. It's warning me that there's traps in 2 of the 3 corridors. If you get near a trap, a little exclamation point will appear above your head and warn you, saying, hey, maybe you should consider backing up. You can see right there, I do 3, 1 damage. Again, my strength is low. I'm a caster. I'm not a meleeer. You can see they don't hit too hard, but that damage will not come back. I can go in to drink potions to regenerate it, which I do have 5, so basically 50 hit points. It's basically 1 full heal. You do get experience. If I level up here, I will not actually gain a level until I go back to town. There is a skill tree in the game. You can progress skills a lot like Diablo 2, where you can pick a skill and go deeper into it. And there are basically 2 trees at first. There's only by 2 different spells. It's one side's the fireball, one side's the cloud. We got another guy over here. Let's just skip forward a little bit and get to the point where we're actually seeing some more of the... Ooh, watch out, there's a trap. Some more of the puzzle solving. Alright, here we go. A little bit later in the game. Let's see, basically it's telling me I have to go grab 3 items. This one's fairly straightforward. Just go through here and go to the 3 pedestals in the different rooms. A lot of the times these items look like things you can interact with, like a chest on the ground. It's just for show, though. You can't actually go and loot the chest or anything. So it's got a very kind of dark, washed, cloudy feel to it. It does give me a vibe of Path of Exile, maybe an older Diablo game, especially with the music in the background. And you can see here we got another slime. It's aggressive. So I do have to unsheath my weapons. I had them sheathed because I was going up a ladder. I was probably a little overkill to fireball it again, because again, my mana will not regenerate. And if I sleep it in, it'll only go to half, so I probably shouldn't be burning my mana this much. But, unlike a lot of RPGs, 1 mana bar does last quite a while. And then we got my 3 items, so I can go through here, which will let me go and interact with this pedestal. And then after that I can go ahead and finish this little dungeon and head back to town and turn it in. This free-to-play, good quick travel. Free-to-play MMORPG called Wizardry Online. Looks interesting. The premise of... the backwards jump amuses me. The premise of a hardcore game seems like it could be fun. Might be worth checking out. If you like the game, check it out. If you like the content, stay tuned for more videos for MMO play. Thanks for watching, and sure, I'll take that.